Hi guys, my name is Jason, and I'm sitting here in Vietnam, all on the other side of the world, from where we come from in South Africa. And I just want to tell you a bit about what a miracle it is that we're actually here in Vietnam. So I'm the team leader, and I'm in charge of making the decisions for the team and making sure that everything is in on time, and the preparations are ready for the whole trip, and then making all the decisions on the trip as well. And I've really been learning a lot in terms of having to trust the Lord and handing everything over to Him. About a month and a half, 2 months before we left for the mission trip, I was so stressed and anxious so that everything wasn't going to be ready on time. Finances weren't coming in, and the deadlines we'd set and goals that we'd set we weren't hitting the mark, and we were missing them by far. For instance, we planned to book our flight tickets a month and a half before we left, but at that point, by the time we got to that deadline, we only had about 12 to 15% of the finances we needed to book the tickets. And at that point, you really start stressing and thinking, wow, are we really going to be going? And I came to a point where I almost gave up on going on the mission. But it was at that point when the Lord told me, Jason, why are you even trying to do this on your own strength? Why do you even think that it's you who's going to be making sure everything is going? He said, I am the one who's making the way. I'm the one who makes the plans and provides what is needed. And at that point, I decided to go, well, Lord, I'll have to surrender everything to you, and I'm going to have to trust you for it. And it was just this instant peace of knowing that everything is out of my control. There's no way I will be able to influence or make sure that everything is there on time, but I would have to trust in the Lord. And as time went on, finances still weren't coming in, plans weren't getting confirmed on time as I was hoping, but it even came to a point where we had to make a call on whether or not we were going to go on the mission because of finances, and having to tell a few people whether or not they're going to go on the mission. So it was about literally 2 weeks before we were meant to leave for Vietnam, and it was time now. If we're going to go, we're going to have to book tickets now. If not, then we're not going to go. And we got our final finance update just before we booked tickets, and we looked at it, and I just prayed. I said, Lord, I don't want to have to leave people behind, because that would be really sad, and I think everyone needs to come because they've got so much to learn. And so I prayed the prayer and went online and looked at the tickets, and lo and behold, the ticket prices had dropped by 25% from the month and a half before that we were actually aiming to book the tickets. And at that point, we were able to book everyone a ticket. We literally had just enough money to buy everyone a ticket into Vietnam. And it was crazy because obviously it was a huge thing for me. So I watched the ticket prices just for a little bit after we booked the tickets, and those ticket prices within 2 days were back up even higher than what they were for the whole month and a half before. So there was literally a 2-day window where those ticket prices were the prices that they were. And then continuing on, we used all our money to buy these tickets, but we knew we need to come to Vietnam. We must come to do the work of the Lord here, and we must continue trusting the Lord. It was so much so that actually all the finances that needed to come in only got into my bank account that we were meant to be using when we were here, while I was on the plane, as we sat down in the plane to come to Vietnam. So we really had to trust the Lord, that if that money didn't come in at that point, I don't know what we would have done, but the Lord asked us to trust Him, and we did, and He came through spectacularly. And just seeing throughout the whole mission how each and every single person on the mission has grown so much. Incredible growth has taken place. But not only that, but we've seen so many people come to salvation. And in a country like Vietnam, which is communist, just as I'm sitting in this interview, there's a government building across the street that's very, very blatantly communist, which is very interesting. But there's only 5% of Vietnam is Christian, and a very small percentage of them are spirit-filled. But as we were going on this mission, we saw multiple people coming to salvation, which is something that is very unusual in Vietnam, because they were all fixed in the Buddhist way of thinking. So we've really seen the hand of the Lord move in this team, and move in the words that we've spoken. Just seeing how, for instance, when we were teaching an English class, the one time we decided, okay, well, we're going to share a testimony. And Lydia, who's on the team, shared a testimony for about 15 minutes. And of the group that was there, maybe about 5 of them weren't saved. And one of the guys gave his life to the Lord for the first time. And for someone to give their life to the Lord there is unusual. So it was great to see how lives are being changed, and in simple things of teaching English and just displaying the love of God and testifying on what He has done in our lives. And I just want to encourage you that you can always know that the Lord will provide. You can always trust in Him. He is always watching over you. He is in control. He is the highest authority, and there's no need to fear what comes.
Hello everyone, my name is Stellenbosch Smith. I'm currently in Vietnam at a church called HIF, Hanoi International Fellowship. And just me being here is actually an amazing testimony. So as most of us know, if we want to come on missions, we all have to stand in faith for our own finances. And previous years, I had a lot of help from my parents. They were really amazing. They sponsored me quite a lot. But this year I decided, okay, cool, I want to stand in faith for my own finances. And things got going, the mission meetings were happening, people were getting together, but the finances were not looking so hot. And I remember getting my finance updates and going like, I'm not sure if I'm going on a mission this year. And then we had to book the plane tickets, which were one of our final deadlines, and I still did not have enough money in my account. So I thought, you know what, if the Lord speaks, the Lord speaks. I'm not going on mission this year. And then God miraculously dropped the flight ticket prices just enough so that I can actually go on missions. And that was absolutely amazing. But the flight tickets were only one part of the problem, and I still needed a lot of money. So I'm like, okay, Lord, You crossed this hurdle. I'm going to Vietnam, but I still need a lot of money. And I remember a few days before we were going to leave for Vietnam, I was sitting in my room and it just hit me. All of a sudden, it just became so real. Like, this is money that I need, and I don't have it, and there's nothing I can do to get this money at this point. And it just also became clear to me that's like often how we are with God, because we owe Him this massive debt because of our sin, and we try to pay it back by our dirty rags, by giving Him our good works, and it doesn't compare. But anyway, so time was moving on, and I didn't have the money, so I was trying to like sell things and make a plan here and there. But all of the time, I was just reminded by God telling me, when we first had our mission meetings, we were worshiping and interceding a bit, and I just remember almost having this conversation with God and saying, Lord, I really want to go. And He asked me a couple of questions, and at the end of the conversation, He just said, I will make a way. And I just felt like this door opening, and like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Vietnam. I'm like, whoa, this is really amazing. And then a few days before we left, I needed 15,000 Rand out of 22, and I had no way of getting it. But I kept feeling God just saying to me, 15,000 Rand, 15,000 Rand. I'm like, okay, cool, Lord, this is really amazing, but I don't have 15,000 Rand. And then the day before we left, I found out that the full amount had been paid into my account. So it was very on the edge, on the edge of your seat, in the moment type vibe. But God did provide the full amount needed, and I can honestly say that I had nothing to do with that. So it's always been something people have been telling me, like, oh, when you go on missions, God provides. And it's one thing when your parents provide, but it's quite another thing when you actually really experience the hand of the Lord moving in such a big way. So yeah, be encouraged. Amen.
Xin chào, ba, kue, home. Hello, my name is Lauren Daniels, and this is my first ever mission. And just at the beginning of this mission, I think in one of our prayer sessions, Jason asked me to pray for one of the ladies that we were going to minister to in Hanoi. And it was just on my heart, just really to encourage her. It was super cool because when we got here, I was like, okay, cool, Lord. So it's like, when are you going to provide an opportunity? And eventually, I think it was like 3 days in, the Lord just really set up a meeting with her. And I think it's just a cool thing for me. It's like when the Lord says something, He will do it. And a lot of the questions that I had before coming to mission was like, okay, is obedience worth it? Like, is obedience not futile? And the Lord really just showed me and just demonstrated like throughout this mission the fruitfulness of obedience, and that you just need a willing heart. And I think just like one of the opportunities that He set up with that lady was just as me just being able to partner with Him. So I just think it's like obedience bears fruit. Oh, and then I also want to share about the kids. So then when we were in Ho Chi Minh City, it's about the opportunity of spending 3 days at an orphanage. It's just my heart het 'n bietjie gebreek when we had to leave, because it's really like people that I formed, or kids that I formed a bond with. But the most amazing thing that stood out for me is on the last day, I was like sobbing my eyes out, and I sort of adopted a girl there. But then one of the other girls came to me and she wiped the tears off my eyes. I saw something in her eyes that I haven't seen before. And it really showed like the richness of Christ. I think in Philippians 4, I could be wrong, but somewhere where Paul speaks about, like for me, we pull in Philippians 4, I think, Philippians 2, but anyway, in Philippians, when Paul mentions just about is for me to live is Christ and to die is gain. And I saw it in somehow, like it was really demonstrated in a child's eyes for me. And just like the abilities, is the way that the people of Vietnam really, really welcomed us and received us. I think that was one of the main things that stood out in this mission. Really showed the servant heart of Christ.
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia, and I'm also part of the Vietnam 2019 mission team. And I just want to share about what happened at a church service at HIF. It's Hanoi International Fellowship Church. And so I'm just going to share on what happened on Sunday. So before the church service, we were praying and interceding for the service, and I saw a vision of a curtain and a hand just pulling the curtain open, and then there was a window. So I also saw a cross against the wall, and I really felt like the Lord said that we should focus on the cross and really shift our focus back to the cross and what Jesus did for us on the cross. So in this service, I was sitting and just praying, and then I asked the Lord if there's anyone He wants to speak to, anyone He wants me to speak to, and then He gave me the name Emily. So after the service, I looked around and I greeted a couple of people, and then a lady came up to me with her daughter, and there was some elders standing in front of the church for people to pray for people. And then this lady just came up to me. I was just standing on in the one corner, and then I prayed for her. And afterwards, the previous night I was lying in bed, and I really felt like the Lord said, I'm going to pray for someone's right leg. And then after I prayed for the lady, she asked me if I could pray for her daughter's right leg. And she got healed. And it was really amazing just to see that that the Lord heals, and He still heals. So then after the second service, I was still looking for Emily, and I was just standing around and socializing, and then a girl came up to me and she was talking to Lauren, and I greeted her and asked her what her name was, and she said Emily. And I really felt like the Lord said I should just encourage her by telling her that she should stop fighting and that she should be still and know that God is in control. And then she told me that she's been applying for, she wants to study theology, and she's been applying like all over the world, like even as in Australia. And the Lord's just not opening doors for her, and she's really losing faith and losing trust in the Lord. So it was really cool. I got reminded of the vision of the curtain, and I really felt like the Lord told her, or wanted me to tell her, that He's going to open a window of opportunity for her. And I got to pray for her, and also got to share my testimony. And she was people in Vietnam don't really open up that easily, and she was very vulnerable, and she opened up about a few of her struggles, and it was really a privilege just to be able to pray with her, and also just to see how encouraged she was afterwards. And she really didn't want to say bye to me, and we're going to keep contact, and I know that the Lord will open a window of opportunity for her, and she said she'll contact me when He does. So it's just amazing to see that. Jason also got, he saw this vision of a cross, and being lifted up, like a massive cross being lifted up over Hanoi. And in the worship, I looked out of the window, and it's just this view over Hanoi, and I just saw this massive cross, and it was really, I was trembling. It was really, really big, and it just showed me how great God is, and how He's really an almighty God. And it's just amazing to see God working in Vietnam, and just to see what He's busy doing. And I really feel like there's a revival beginning to happen in Vietnam, and God is really setting captives free.
Hello, my name is Mika. So we went on a mission to Vietnam, and we taught English classes in Vietnam. We taught classes, a group class, and then we also taught one-to-one lessons. And I'm going to tell a testimony about the one-to-one lesson I did. It was the second last day we were in Vietnam, and the lesson were about occupations. So I just normally went on with the lesson, and I also just asked God, He can give me an open door to minister to the girl, to tell her about Him if it's His will and if He wants to. And then just in the middle of the lesson, we just started chatting, and we just had a normal conversation. And then she told me that she wants to speak English fluently and really wants to speak English well, so that she can get a new job, because she was doing accounting and she just felt like she wanted to do something else, an international job where she needs to know English. And then I just asked her, can I pray for you that you will get the new job and that you will be able to learn English well? And then she was just so open, and she said, yes, please pray for me. And then I just prayed for her that if it's God's will, that she will get a new job, and that she will learn English, and that she will be able to speak it fluently. And then after the prayer, I asked her, is she a Christian? And she said no, she's not a Christian, but she has Christian friends, and her family is Buddhist. That's why she's not a Christian. And then I told her a bit about my testimony, and I told her that I didn't have a relationship with God for a long time. I gave my life to God when I was in high school, and then I just told her that God loves her, and that He really wants a relationship with her as well. And then she said, wow, she never heard anything like that, and she really experiences peace. And then I also just asked her, but can I pray for you? Do you want a relationship with the Lord? And I can pray for you. And then she was also really, really open, and she really wanted me to pray for her, and she really wanted to experience God as well. And she was really open. And then I could just pray for her that she would receive God, and that she will see more of God, and that her family will get saved as well. So
Hello everyone, my name is Kristen and I'm currently in Vietnam on the Shofar mission, and we're in Hanoi at the moment. I just really want to share a testimony on how I didn't feel ready for a mission at all. It's my first mission, and I didn't know anyone in the team, so I felt a bit anxious about it and just maybe not ready to be used by God. So I felt a little bit fearful, but I just want to share how faithful God was to me and how He really came through for me. And God really established amazing friendships within this team, and also even though I felt like I wasn't ready, God was able to use me in ways that I was able to pray for people, and I received scriptures for the church and for Vietnam and for individual people, and I was able to pray for a woman whose dad has suffered severe head injuries and paralysis, and it's just amazing to see how God can use anyone, and that you don't have to be ready and feel 100% prepared, but that if you're obedient, that God can use you. And that just really inspired me, and it's been amazing to experience that. Although I didn't know anyone, the people in this team have built such tight-knit friendships, and we've become so close and like a family. And it's also really cool to see how we've come to the opposite side of the world and interacting with people of different culture and a different language, yet there's this spiritual connection between us, and we're all like a family, and it feels like we've known each other for so long, even though it's only been just a few days. And that's been really cool to see that God's people share such a unity, and but it's been an amazing experience, and I'd really like to encourage anyone who feels like they're not ready and they're not worthy to be used by God, or they're not fully prepared, to go for it, because God can use you, and He will use you in mighty ways if you're just willing. Okay, I'm done.